Let's explore an excerpt from Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok's My Heart's Advice. And then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditates Like a Jedi. Brought to you by the kind folks who support this channel on Patreon. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa on Ajan Class under the guidance of Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good news. If at any time during this evening's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type that question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, one moment while I blow my nose. Okay, let's chant. Should you be attached to this life, you'll have no chance to practice the Dharma. The more you indulge your desires, the more your craving will only increase, and you'll never find satisfaction. Wealth, happiness, fame, and praise, to pursue them is like buying and selling in a dream. Let go of such concerns. Now let's take a deeper look into this. We can go through life, we can approach life upon the path of yang, upon the path of neurosis, upon the path of patriarchy. We can approach life and all its pains and all its pleasures from a place of being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel. And whatever we do will pretty much exacerbate our turmoil. However, if we go through life from a place of being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind, and some call this yin, and some call this true matriarchy, and some call it being healthy and well-adjusted, then if what we do is not from a place of scatteredness, nor from a place of being contrite, but from a place of centered spontaneity, then we're going to be much happier, much more fulfilled. And how do we do that? How do we cultivate this elusive centered spontaneity? Not through concentration, but through mindfulness and meditation, the details of which we will explore in just a few minutes. Wrong button. Okay, let's try that again. I want to make sure the mic's working okay. Okay, good. Wrong button again. Okay, here we go. Tonight's practice. So, welcome to Khenchen Jigme Phuntsok's Swift Bestowal of Blessings, which is a sadhana or practice text for the archetype known by some as Peaceful Manjushri. Now, this is not a literal translation. I have adapted it and amplified it. Hopefully, not out of self-importance, just out of a desire to make sure that us silly Americans understand the Dharma. Let's see. Let's see if I was able to do this correctly. Okay. Excellent. The ground is primordially pure space, so the youthful false body is radiant and... Take two. The ground is primordially void space, the useful false body, its radiant energy is unceasing. My own awareness, bodhicitta, is of the nature of the hero Manjushri on an ultimate level. In recognition of this my own true essence, I take refuge. And tonight I'd like to explain the second verse. We'll begin by chanting it. In the illusory city of interdependent deluded perception, beings roam endlessly by clinging to things as real. To bring them all to the Dharmakaya's primordial freedom. I generate bodhicitta in the great settling beyond extremes. So I've replaced the Sanskrit word Dharmakaya with an amplified paraphrase. So to demystify the whole process. Because superstition, just like Stevie Wonder taught us, superstition ain't the way. Okay, so let's chant it one more time and then the explanation. In the illusory city of interdependent deluded perception, beings roam endlessly by clinging to things as real. So, humans get confused easily. Why is that? Because of a quirk of evolution. Our brains have two reward systems. One's dopamine-oriented, one's oxytocin-oriented. One's focused primarily on selfishness, one's focused on cooperation. These set of drives are useful tools, but when our primal survival drives control our choices, utterances, and deeds, we are not going to experience fulfillment. Yes, we might experience short-term pleasure, but not long-term fulfillment. So one of the keys to reconcile our two sets of drives, our self-centered primal survival drives and our cooperative drives, is to practice mindfulness and meditation in such a way that helps us to, number one, walk in the zone. Number two, let go. Holding on tight is antithetical to being in the zone. If you want to be in the zone, you gotta let go. So, and when we cling to things as real, we wind up stuck in being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel. When we're able to let go of things, it's much easier for us to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind. You don't have to trust me on this. You don't have to believe me blindly on this. If you just look in your own life, you'll see this pattern as well. To bring them all to the primordial freedom and the mastery of awareness and letting go, I generate bodhicitta in the great settling beyond extremes. So bodhi means enlightenment, citta means mind. So bodhicitta could be described as mindset of enlightenment. Now, in Mahayana Buddhism, there are two primary categories of bodhicitta. There's the ultimate bodhicitta of the wisdom of awareness and letting go. And then there's the conventional bodhicitta of loving, of love, of wishing love, and acting love. So, when people replace mindfulness, vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random, with concentration, rigid and controlling, they have difficulty experiencing love. And therefore, these people will often, with the best of intentions, resort to manipulating themselves through all kinds of, through a complex series of contemplations. However, when controlling concentration is replaced with vulnerable and centered, mindfulness, then loving motivation arises in a manner that is spontaneous and uncontrived. So the great settling beyond all extremes is, and we'll explore this in a few minutes, letting go in harmony with the natural processes of our autonomic nervous system. That concludes today's in-depth exploration of the sadhana. Having concluded that, we're now going to ascend to cruising altitude. Samsara is entirely positive and nirvana is wholly good too. In the all good expanse there is no birth, no death, no pleasure, and no pain. Through the power of the truth of the unchanging capacity to notice and release, may the inspiration to realize true reality descend upon us. We now come to this evening's first of two silent meditations. This one could be described as awareness and letting go, mindfulness and meditation, Zen Chandhyana, Great Completion Stage Tantra, Mahasandhi Ati Yoga, Sutra Mahamudra, Dzogchen, or Trekcho's Slice Through. Despite the grandiosity of its names, its practice is simple. Physically, just emulate the posture described by this photograph of a statue. in terms of breathing. During your inhalation, you will want our inhalations to be shorter and sharper. We want our exhalations to be longer and softer. And now the mental aspect. As we breathe in and silently and mentally recite the sensory verb watch, we are wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not to concentrate, but rather to notice. How to notice? Vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We could notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We could notice emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. That's a lot of stuff. Now, we don't need to label it. If we just simply practice passively, like an audience member at a play, not like the director or the playwright. But what do we do with all the stuff that we notice? Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically and effortlessly access our parasympathetic nervous system. Which has evolved to both physically relax as well as mentally release. Now, this might seem like child's play, but it's effective. Aligning our intention and our body with these ancient mechanisms of our autonomic nervous system is the key to enlightenment. Not after the span of 3 great aeons, but in as little as 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. By the way, if you've just joined me, welcome aboard. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. For now, let's meditate. Let's chant. In an experience of reality, primordial purity, and profound luminosity, the spontaneously present play of awareness dawns as great compassion. Inseparable unity expanding everywhere as the Vajra of space, which fully emerges in apparent form as a symbolic mudra. Manjugosha, the embodiment of the wisdom of all the Buddhas. He is peaceful, smiling, graced with signs and marks and youthful. He has the glow of twilight clouds and is adorned with jewels and silks. In his right hand he holds aloft and brandishes a sword of wisdom. In his left he holds a volume of text and rests upon an upala flower. He is seated on a water-bound lotus resting upon a full moon disk, with his legs crossed in the posture of majestic ease. Within each and every pore of his body, self-arisen tantric mandalas appear in countless number. Above, below, and all around a missing expanse of rainbow light. The root and lineage gurus, akinis, and northbound guardians arise as a spontaneous adornment like specks of destined sunbeam. Through the force of Ati Yoga, empty of existence and non-existence, the Samaya connection of student to teacher is always fully present like space. O Sugata of perfect bliss, turn your attention toward me. Youthful Manjushri, who embody fortune and splendor. From the natural and unelaborated palace of the mastery of awareness and release. Embodiment of compassion, spontaneous and uncontrived. Transcendent conqueror in order to dispel the darkness of unknowing and conceptuality. I invite you in your self-uprisen wisdom form, come now, I pray. In order to rid my mind of attachment to good and bad, with regard to the visualized Samaya beings and the actually abiding jhana wisdom beings, remain here, you who embody wisdom, love, and power. Transcendent conqueror, steadfast and invisibly united, I pray. The wisdom deity-oriented similes may arise from the expanse of inner luminosity, and appear as an arrangement of face, hands, and adornments. But it is a manifestation of mind's own utter purity of love and letting go. In recognition of my very essence of awareness, release, and love, I offer symbolic homage. All phenomena represented by the objects of sensory cognition are purely non-graspable from the beginning and perfect in this gesture of offering. Without attachment, and through the magic of king-like concentration. I make these perpetual offerings that entirely fill the vast expanse of awareness and release. Through the secret path of instructions that do not arise from Scripture, you seize the stronghold of a fruition that does not derive from causes. The supreme primordial Buddhahood that does not originate in mind. Sovereign of all the Buddha families, to you I offer homage and praise. With sight, sounds, and mind experienced as non-graspable as deity, mantra, and awareness and release. Okay, gotta do a quick edit to make it fit on the page. Do bear with me. Let's continue, but first I gotta make sure that the display is still synchronized. Deity mantra and dharmata as a great perfection of awareness emptiness. And awareness emptiness is my uncognizance, all penetrating and beyond limits. In a state that is undistracted and free of grasping, I recite the secret mantra Umarapatanadi. And this brings us to mantra meditation, which is known by many names. It serves as an antidote to hating, and it is known by many names such as Generation Stage Tantra, Mantra Yoga, Mahayoga, Tantra Mahamudra, as well as Tokal's Leap Over. Let us begin by leaping over our competitive tendencies. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. So here's the secret. Here is the secret to transforming mindless mantra recitation into transformative mantra meditation. The secret is twofold. Number one, while chanting the mantra, physically relax as best you can. Number two, when you take it in breath, silently and mentally recite either A, a wisdom-inducing rhetorical question, or B, a love-inducing intention. Now, this love-inducing intention is only 6 syllables long, which is cryptic. So we're going to shed some light on its meaning on the previous page. Please chant with me. May all minds of all beings know be as peaceful and wise as the mind of a Buddha of law symbolized by a one-syllable Siti Clay or Bija mantra. Umara Bhadzanadi, Umara Bhadzanadi, Umara Bhadzanadi, Umara Bhadzanadi. 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 Let us leap over our interpersonal competition. May all relationships of all beings know be as joyful and loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by this six-syllable mantra. Omara Bazana di 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 Omara Bazana di. Let's leap over our physical competition. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Omara Bazana di 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 May all circumstances, all lots of all beings now have the safety, good fortune, or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, Pirlando Vati. Omara Bazana di 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 Ooh, excuse me. Now let's sleep over our clinging tendencies. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as not graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. How is it that as we... we're going to play with a series of rhetorical questions. How is it that as we inhale all circumstances could appear quite vivid, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light? Omara Bazana di 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 How is it that as we inhale our bodies, our forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined octuple yedom of light. Umara Bazana di 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 How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication, our speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Umara Bazana di 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 How is it that as we inhale we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined syllable-D of light. Umara Bazana di 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 We come to this evening's second and final silent meditation. It could be described as bliss and letting go, and it could function as an antidote to craving. It is known by many names, such as completion stage tantra, anu yoga, bindu mahamudra, and tikle drop. If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. If at any point during this live stream, any point at all, you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So here's the deal. Let me see here. What page am I on? I'm on page 83. So Sit as tall as you can, creating traction between your pelvis and your skull. As you breathe, so you want your inhalation to be shorter and sharper and your exhalation to be longer and softer. As you breathe in, please mentally recite the sensory verb feel. Every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not to concentrate, but rather to notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which is evolved to both physically relax and mentally release. let's chant. So we're going to use a very Ati Yoga version of the feast offering to share our positive vibes with all beings everywhere. In the extensive Bundas called cup of the unborn expansive awareness and release, all that manifests from the ground samsaric and nirvanic phenomena are arranged as a feast. It is blessed with the view of my own untainted awareness, and becomes an object of light to the deities who receive it. Actual gifts of food and drink and other substances are increased, and through this sky treasury absorption thus filling the entire expanse of boundless space, to the infinite three-root deities of Lama, Vuyata, meditation, and Kondro action, I present this offering. And by the way, this is an outline of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. So don't let someone tell you that the Eightfold Path is only for one sect. It's for all sects. Failing to hold to the natural state of all-penetrating awareness, and overpowered by attachment to notions of I and me, I have transgressed the Vajra command that is not to be taken lightly. Whatever faults I have committed, I hereby acknowledge and confess. I shall not reject thoughts that involve clinging to dualistic ideas, nor subject them to the path of transformation. Rather, I shall seal them with the sharp blade of naturally flowing awareness, within the vast primordial purity of relaxation and release in which phenomena are exhausted. There's a lot of terminology. We're saying here's the ultimate practice is simply to notice and relax. All the limitless Dharma systems of ground path and fruition are like a wisdom symphony of deity, mantra, and awareness and release. I gotta take a minute to edit. Do bear with me. Uncreated and always present, may these clouds of perfection fulfill us solemn pledges to the victorious ones throughout space. To the mandala of deities within my own body that is utterly pure, I present this offering of immaculate nectar. Through this may I perfect the four visions and ripen as the light body of great transference. May all beings attain awakening altogether in a single mandala. May the guests of the remainder thoughts that arise when the stronghold is not secured within the precious expansive sphere of spontaneous presence accept this remainder grain offering like enthusiasm and compassion, and extend the festival of benefit and happiness for the teaching and beings. As represented by this, may all virtues accumulated in the past, present, and future ripen fully in the mind streams of all beings throughout the whole of space, so that they may all awaken to the youthful vase body, complete within its special features of inner luminosity. The pure Dharma, take 3. The pure Dharmakaya view of awareness and letting go settled in a state beyond the ordinary mind. The perfect Sambhogakaya meditation of bliss and letting go with a full measure of direct experience. and the mature Nirmanakaya conduct of love and letting go spontaneous and uncontrived, in which space and awareness are indivisible. May all be auspicious for the effortless accomplishment of these three kaya bodies. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window, you could give this live stream a thumbs up, you could share it with a friend, you could even help support it on Patreon. Whether you do or whether you don't, in approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy, and if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.